Welcome, everybody, to Pulpit to the Pew. I'm your host, Brother Sean Brumfield, and we're here to bring another episode to you. And I've got my buddies here, Brother Jonathan Mitchell.
How's it going, everybody?
Brother Ryan Brown.
Hello, hello.
And finally, we have Brother Jacob Bishop with us.
Hey, everybody, live and in person, finally.
We're done with the shout-outs, and we finally got him here, and we're glad to have him be a part of us here. I do want to send out an apology to everybody here. Unfortunately, we recorded a couple episodes, and that was for last week, and we weren't able to post them because we had some files corrupted. It recorded just me and Brother Jonathan, and so that wouldn't have been a fun episode. Dude, got half the content, so we thought best just to hold off and record a little extra, and so we're here to bring a better show to you today.
Yeah, things kind of happen. When you deal with technology and stuff to that nature, you always have to take into account that there's going to be a failure somewhere at one point or the other. So,
yeah, when I was studying all this stuff, every episode I watched, everything that I looked up was like, during your podcast, you're going to lose episodes. And I was like, that's not going to happen to me. You know, I've got this. Where's in the bag? We record stuff at church all the time. Yeah, and then we got done, and I went to go edit some episodes, and I seen 2 tracks, and I was like, it happened to me. Yeah. So that's the way it works sometimes, I guess.
It's just life. Reality smacks you in the face every now and then.
Never say never.
Yeah. The sad thing is, though, the one episode was so good, I felt really bad losing that one. You know, we had a good conversation. So hopefully maybe we'll be able to bring that around some other time in a more organic setting, I guess.
Yeah, we'll I'm sure we'll hit it because it was an important topic, but, you know, we keep moving forward.
And to think you guys are really sad now because you'll never hear it, at least the way we did it the first time.
I mean, we were really just getting settled in on about what thankfulness is, and really hit home on some of the things that we were talking about. But, you know, we'll get around to it and get back out there. Who knows? We might even hit some things in this episode.
Speaking of, this is our after Thanksgiving episode. Did everyone have a good Thanksgiving?
Oh, yeah, it was great.
Yeah, it was good.
Yeah, I had a good one. Now in the mindset of Christmas. I finally got my Christmas tree up.
Wow.
Mine's been up.
Me too, brother.
Mine is not up, so I guess now I'm the Grinch.
You're a mean one.
It's actually kind of nice, though. I'm getting into the Christmas spirit, you know, kind of listening to the Christmas songs and getting into that Christmas spirit. This is the first year that me and my wife has actually started buying Christmas gifts before December. So, you know, it's been kind of a different year for me.
We haven't started yet.
Me and my wife have already finished.
Yeah, that works out pretty good.
Yeah, we've done quite a bit of it already.
Amazon is the best. That's where we pretty much got everything, was Amazon.
I think that's where we're going to get the youth gifts this year, is through Amazon. Just get a major good deal in shipping and be done with it. Don't have to hit Walmart at like 10 o'clock at night, you know, to get everything.
You miss out on the adventures, though.
That's what I was saying. It takes all the fun away from it, man.
Well, I enjoy it, but then my wife, if she has something in mind that she wants to get done, we'll go out and get all these gifts. And then she'll want to come home and wrap them immediately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And I'm like, it's midnight, babes. Like,
a woman's mindset is totally different than a man.
Yeah.
Man says, I'm going to get to it. That could be a few days, a week. Woman says, I'm going to get to it. That means right now.
Yeah, that's the way it is what it is with Mariah. Mariah's like, I want it done, and I want it done yesterday. And I'm like, it'll be there tomorrow. Like,
don't that burn you up when they ask you to do something and you don't move immediately and then they've got it done already? You're like, I was just getting up.
Yeah.
Lissa is so good at being a personal reminder. I'm just like, thanks, my little helper.
Yeah.
Reminding me
Thanks,
of everything.
Miss Secretary.
But then again, if she doesn't remind me, it'll never get done.
Yeah.
I will never, ever do it. And then she's like, you get mad at me if I do, and you get mad at me if I don't. I'm like, well, you know, baby, I'm so sorry. But that's just
We're
the way
sorry
it is.
we don't have your memory.
Yeah.
She can get things done. Like, she'll be on her way to the kitchen to, like, look in the dishwasher and be like, hey, can you throw this away? And she just keeps walking. I'm like, hey, can you throw this away? There's nothing you can do to stop her from getting in there to do that one chore that she wants done. She's going to get it done, whether you want
She's
her
on a
to do
mission.
something or not. Yeah.
Yeah. My wife does that. When she wants something done, she's gonna, she's gonna make sure that I get it done. And if I don't get it done, she's gonna work on it, and I want to hear the,
That shredded
And then I have
sound.
to say, "What's wrong?" She'll just give me that look. Okay, I know what's wrong.
I know if she
You don't
says-
know by now.
If
You're
she
doing a
says,
great job,
take
though.
out the trash, and 15 minutes goes by, she says it again.
Too long.
Another 15 minutes go by. If I hear that lid come off that can,
Mm-hmm.
I'm getting off the lazy boy and I'm running into
You've
that
never seen
kitchen.
us move like that.
I'm no athlete by the smallest means of the words, but I'm going to race and get it done.
It's wonderful. No, it's a great time of year, guys. Getting close to the Christmas season. We've got a couple weeks moving on. I was reading a book the other day. Me and my wife, we've made a little decision that we're going to buy our own Christmas gifts, but we just don't get to get them until Christmas. So that way she gets what she wants, I get what I want, and we don't have to worry about anything in between. And but we did get each other a couple different things, and she bought me a book. Well, I bought her something, and she got to get it early. So I said, I get to get something early too.
It's only fair.
Yeah.
And it's a book by the pastor who pastors the Brooklyn Tabernacle.
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
And Simbala, I believe is who it is. And been reading it, man. It's a tremendous book. But there's something in there that I was reading, and there's a reason we got this, because it's going into the Christmas time. There's something in there in that book that this lady was writing a personal testimony, because the book that I'm reading is about how the tabernacle began to get to where it's at today. In this lady's personal testimony, she talked about how her dad was an alcoholic, and her life was horrible. Her mom had always had to have a guy in her life, not really religious, but her uncle was religious and would take her to a church when she was a young teenager. She's been through so much stuff. And she said these words. I was reading it. She said she began to talk about the church that her uncle took her to, and began to say, but this church was all about rules and regulations, and begin to say that I couldn't do this, and I wasn't allowed to do this, and I wasn't allowed to do this, and all of this stuff. And she made a statement. I've got it underlined, and I'll probably end up using it sometime in preaching. But she said, by the time I was 15, I was so confused, and I was hurt. And she said, the church was all about relationship, but no one ever taught me the importance, or it was all about regulation, but nobody taught me the importance of a relationship with Jesus.
Yeah.
And man,
Yeah.
with it being this time of year, and I know Christmas should not be the only time that you ever try to push somebody for the relationship of Christ. I don't ever want to get through all the humdrum of everything that's going on or forget the reason why we celebrate what we call Christmas. I stuck out to that, and I thought, man, that's the most important thing, is having a relationship with Him. That's what it's all about.
Yeah, getting to know who He is, getting to see the personality of Christ is the important part of being able to set Christmas where it needs to be. Because we talk about, we appreciate the death of Christ and the resurrection, but there wasn't a birth. There would be no death. There would be no resurrection. There would be none of these great miracles that we hear about. And, falling in love with the man is the key.
It's it.
We lose sight so many times about what this season's really about, because America's so commercialized.
Yeah.
Everything is about, the next biggest, hottest thing that you can get. It's, it's all about the trimmings of it. But sometimes we got to come back to the realization, like you said, it's about a relationship with Christ and what His birth entailed, what that means for us. We just got to step back sometimes and readjust our focus this time of year.
And to even call back a little bit to what we were talking about with the Thanksgiving episode that we did, is the fact of the matter, we skip over things. We talked at length about that in the episode, and even went into just kind of skip Thanksgiving and talked about Christmas. People, even though Christmas isn't even here yet, they're on to the next. I mean, they're talking about springtime and all that stuff. I just think that we've become what we can acquire, what we can gather. And, that's one of the reasons why I've been called the Grinch around this time of year by my family and friends. Just because I don't like what Christmas has became. But I love the message of Christmas, which is the birth. That's what I care about. But I just don't like how everything has become so commercial, and it's the chase of the almighty dollar. And that's kind of why I have a Grinchy attitude towards the Christmas season, not necessarily because I don't like Christmas. I love Christmas because it's the birth of Jesus. But I just don't like the over-commercialization of everything.
Yeah.
The over-commercialization of Christmas is absolutely a hard thing that we have to deal with. But I do think as Christians, it's very important for us to still show the joy of the season. And that's the one thing I preached not too long ago at church, and I preached out of Luke chapter 19 and 10. That's, to me, I think that sums up the whole purpose for that, and that's where it says that the Son of God came to seek and to save that which was lost. And I think that's the whole purpose. That's the whole culmination of the message, the purpose. He came to save. He came to seek and to save. And so with everything that's going on, all the humdrum, all the commercialization, all the, rush, and, my wife was telling me the other day, she was trying to schedule some things, and she's like, man, we got something every weekend, and we got something on this day and on that day and everything,
For sure.
And it's a constant, it's a busy time of year. Plus on top of that, for our own families, for her family, for my family, for our children, for the church, trying to throw things in and trying to make sure that the church stuff stays going, church services, what are we going to do here? How are we going to do this? It's a constant just run, a bump and grind and all that stuff. But I do think that it's important for us as Christians to stay in that joyful mode, because it goes back to the very first episode. If they don't see us joyous, especially in this time of year, and we shouldn't celebrate the birth on 1 month.
Right.
I celebrate the birth every single day because he came.
Yeah.
Right. And he came to save somebody like me.
Yeah.
That's humbling. As the psalmist said, what is man that you're mindful of me? But we got to show the world that, we're not getting involved with any of that, but I'm still joyful.
Right.
Not because of this, but because of Christ.
Well, we think about the first Christmas. What was the angel's message when they came to the shepherds? They said, behold, we bring glad tidings of great joy, which shall be to all people, because he's born. The gospel is good news, and we should never lose sight of that in the middle of all the confusion, the turmoil, all the humdrum, the busyness of life. We shouldn't ever forget that's the best news we could ever have.
Yeah.
More than any political outcome, more than anything going on in our present world. When Jesus came to the world, the first Christmas was very hectic. It was very uncertain. Politically, it was very polarized like it is now. The Roman government had took over. There was just a lot of unrest, a lot of things going on. And even Joseph and Mary, you look at the situation there, when they came to the inn, people didn't realize the significance of what was happening. Because they were so caught up in their own lives. Even the innkeeper, he didn't realize the opportunity he had to say, hey, I took part in this event. If they would have only realized what was about to take place, if we're not careful, we'll get in that same mindset. We get so busy and caught up in everything else. But we need to remember, we should have joy, because that's good news. That's good tidings. Jesus came.
Yeah.
And he made a difference.
And another thing that kind of guys made me think about is a lot of like depression and different pretty heavy mental illness stuff and mental states around this time of year skyrocket because people are sad.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, people don't have, if you've lost family members, it's hard and tough because you think of your family members, or some people don't have anyone. And one of the things we do, like I said, kind of to build off what you were saying, Brother Ryan, is we need to continue to show the joy that it's not just about family and gift giving and gift receiving, but we got the greatest gift of all, that took no money out of your pocket. It's free. It's a free gift. It's so wonderful that the gift of salvation was born on this day. It doesn't cost us a dime. It just costs you your devotion to Jesus. Nothing out of pocket, nothing out of sort. It just costs you to serve him. And it kind of goes back to that relationship we were talking about earlier. Once you get to know him and get to establish that relationship, and you learn it's not just a rule book of things we have to follow, but there's a deeper and greater relationship, that's the best thing that you could ever have. You really, truly begin to appreciate the birth of everything above everything else, above all of the noise and what you have or don't have, whether you're poor and can't afford gifts or you're rich and can afford everything. None of it matters as long as you've got Jesus. And I think that's truly the most important thing. And one of the things we need to convey in joy is because it's obviously we sing joy to the world and we get happy, but there's a lot of people during this time that are sad and longing for something, and we need to point to the right direction.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. And, there's a lot of things that go on around this time that we miss about Christ. And I think Gordon Mote sang the song, The Main Event or something like that. And it talks about all these men that when Christ was born, how they were looking for a king, looking for all these great things to happen. But what they missed was that the salvation was going to come to their house. And out of all these crazy things that was going on that Brother Jacob touched, there was one man that we read about that was looking for his salvation, was looking for the Messiah to come. And he was promised. Was Simeon. He was looking for him. And he was waiting for it. And when he seen him, he was so grateful and so glad that that promise came to pass to him, that he went, and his own words was, I can die now. I'm ready to die.
Yeah.
I've seen the greatest thing. And that's, we miss that. We miss on how wonderful of a king that he is, because, he walked on the water. That was great. He calmed the raging seas, and he opened up the eyes of the blind, and he healed the dumb, and the lame man could walk. But if salvation never entered our lives, we would miss the greatest miracle that could happen to us.
Yeah.
And that's where everything goes gray. We get into the gift giving and this and that. And I'll be honest with you, I'm to the point where it's like, I could care less if we get gifts anymore. I mean, I'm old. It's great for the kids and stuff like that. But just to be able to sit and think about, he came for me. Whether anybody else got saved or not, he still would have come for me.
Right. It's wonderful to think that the Son of God, who was deity there at the very beginning, John 1 tells us the Word was with God. Mm-hmm. In the beginning was the Word was with God, the Word was God. Deity. The Son of God came down to be the Son of Man, so that the sons of men could become the sons of God. Brother, I was listening to Brother CD with the Boggs family, and on that CD, Brother Davey, they had a message from Brother Davey, and he said that, and that's where I got that from. I would take credit for that because that's a beautiful statement, but I can't. I heard it from him. But the thing about it is like I never really truly thought of it that way. The Son of God. I mean, don't get me wrong. I preach it, I live it, but to put it just in that statement, the other thing that we got to be careful about is, especially even in the ministry side of deals, we can get so wrapped up on what we want to do, how we want to help people, how we want to do that again, even in the ministry side of the thing, we can completely forget and lose focus on the whole purpose of it too, and that's like that with anything. You can get so wrapped up in our church gives out the Christmas baskets, and we try to help other people. We try to make sure families that are in need, we can be a help to them and all this stuff. And man, I absolutely love it. It's a wonderful thing. But even in all of that, I can preach it to somebody and completely miss it for myself all at the same time.
Yeah.
So it's always great to take this time, even now, because we're not on actual Christmas Day. And I know there's a debate on whether or not Christmas should even be celebrated on Christmas Day and all that. Who cares? Yeah. April, May, June, July, August. Who cares? You don't get a lot of time where you can even turn on a secular radio station and hear them sing songs about Christ.
Yeah.
We get that this time of year, so let's take advantage of it. You know,
it's a win.
I
Right.
think it's amazing how the enemy knows how to use distraction. The power of distraction is so it's something we can't underestimate. You know, he knows how to take something so good, this season we're in, such a glorious time to celebrate the birth of Christ, such a wondrous time, and use the situations and circumstances surrounding this holiday and get us so distracted.
Yeah.
And I think that's one of the most powerful tools the enemy's using in this hour is distraction.
Yeah.
Because he knows if he can get our eyes off of what's important, you know, you can do the right thing with the wrong reason, the wrong motive. And the enemy don't want us to do things out of a pure heart of service and dedication to God, rather out of duty or what's expected of us. But we got to understand the reasoning behind why we do what we do, why we give of ourselves, why we involve ourselves is because we're the hands and feet of Christ, and we're to show that, hey, he came, he gave of himself, he was born, he came down on our level, he gave while he was here, he gave the ultimate sacrifice, his life, and now he's given us eternal life, and we've got to give in return. And that's the enemy wants us to get so distracted and so disillusioned with what's going on that we forget the whole reason behind everything.
Right.
You know, and it's little things that he gets us distracted on.
Yeah.
You know, they've taken Christmas, and it's become a romance, right? You want to, they make it to where, like, you got to be with your significant other and this and that, and if you don't have a significant other with you, it automatically puts you down into depression, or that you have, you know, you're waiting for the kids to come down the stairs and see the delight of that, but if you don't have kids, it puts you down lower. When that's not what it's about at all.
Right.
Yeah.
It's the joy of the Lord. It's not with these tangible things that we have. You know, it's not about class. It's not about the success that we've made, but it's about who He is. You know.
Right. That Christmas song says, "Oh come, let us adore Him."
Yeah.
That's the whole purpose of it all.
There is no greater romance than what Jesus Christ did for us as mankind, and how God sent him down and reunited man with God. That's the greatest story of love that you could ever tell. But the world tries to take it and secularize it, you know, and some of the songs you hear are so ridiculous. I mean, I'm like, shut that junk off. I don't
Santa
want to
ain't
hear
my
that.
baby.
Yeah.
I mean, it's ridiculous. We all know it's ridiculous.
Right.
But there's people actually that eat that stuff up out there,
Yeah.
you know. But it's just the world's view. You know, it's different.
And
It
to
is.
take it back to like the manger scene, just kind of the birth, every class is represented in the manger scene.
Yeah.
You have shepherds,
Yeah.
the lowest of the low. I mean, they tended to sheep. I don't know if you've ever been to a farm. Livestock animals don't smell the best, and those guys were in fields for weeks at a time. I mean, I'm sure they didn't smell the best. And then you had all the way up to the three wise men, which were almost royalty. I mean, they were the upper class of the upper class. And everybody's present to see what this little baby, I mean, every baby is a miracle. I believe that. Every child is a miracle. But this one in particular was different.
Yeah.
So much so that the heavens basically opened up and everybody needed to know and see this child. I mean, angels were announcing his coming. The wise men traveled far, the Bible says. They traveled long distance to get to them. The shepherds wanted to see him. It's just amazing, everything in the manger scene and how representative of everything it is. I mean, from class, color, creed, race, everything is there. You have different backgrounds, different ethnicities, different classes and financial standings, and they're all there for the same purpose, and it's to see the Christ baby, the baby Jesus. You're there to see him. And another thing that, like I said, I heard my cousin, Brother Jared Mitchell, preach this, and it really stuck. It was Mary that wrapped him in swaddling clothes. So that means she was on her own here. I mean, she didn't have a midwife. She birthed Jesus. then wrapped him, and then placed him in a manger. You don't it's Mary that did it. I mean, it's an amazing picture. Just the birth and everything it represents. It's amazing in the picture it is. It's a wonderful thing. And that's what gets me excited about Christmas and why I love it, is thinking about that story. Because, I mean, like Brother Ryan was saying, it's awesome, and we need to celebrate the birth of Jesus every single day and every single month. It's not a time or a season, but we need to celebrate it, period. But Christmas really puts it at the forefront, and you really think and see about that virgin birth and everything about it. It's so awesome. I love it.
Well, even at the time of birth, we talk about the commercialization and how busy it is and everything that's going on right now. I mean, you got to think about what it was like in Jerusalem at the time that Christ was born.
Yeah.
I mean, it was so full and so busy, there was no room in the inn.
Mm-hmm.
Even imagine looking at a man whose wife is getting ready to have birth and tell him, "Well, I'm sorry, sir, we don't have any room for you, so go stay in the barn." You know, so even the very first Christmas scene, if we want to put it that way, the very first Christmas scene was just as busy and chaotic as what it is now.
A typical
Absolutely.
Christmas.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And all the while, in the midst of this, there's a girl that's giving birth to the Christ child, God in flesh, who is going to do this outstanding ministry and change lives, and he's going to die on the cross for sins of mankind.
And not just that, but in the background, this king runs his campaign to try and kill him.
Yeah.
I mean, and that's not just in our Bible. That is in history. Herod wrote out this decree for it to happen. To tell you just how important of a time it was, he changed time as it was. I mean, they even have time named after him.
Talk about
right?
political corruption.
Yeah.
It was steeped in political corruption, just like our day. You know,
Yeah.
it just Rome was ruling at that time, and Herod was pretty much the puppet of Rome.
Yeah.
You did whatever they said, and I mean, the reason they were even going there was because of taxation. You know, they have to relocate, they have to move everything because there's a census. Everybody's got to be taxed. I mean, it was a very perplexing time, no doubt, politically even. Like, what's going to happen? If we don't abide by these rules, what's going to happen to us? So, I mean, it's very similar to where we've been. You know?
Yeah. It's a wonderful time, and it really truly is humbling.
Yeah.
It's a humbling thing to think that Jesus left his throne.
Yeah.
I really look back to the book of Philippians so much, you know, when he says that he was born flesh, you know, and became obedient unto death, even the death of the cross. And he did all that for me. What a wonderful thing. I've got every reason in the world to celebrate Christmas time.
Just think about his name, Emmanuel, God with us.
Yeah.
There was never a time in history up to that point. I mean, God walked with Adam and Eve in the garden. There was a relationship. But to actually have God there in flesh with man, he condescended. He came down, made himself of lowly estate. The Bible talks about that, just so he could reach us.
Yeah.
That's what a thought.
Yeah.
And that's how he is today. He's still the same.
Still the same today.
It just blows my mind how personal that he is,
Yeah.
you know, and how he left all deity to come down and to live life the way that you and I would, you know. I mean, that's just blows. I wouldn't have come down to live in a perfect world, and things go the way that it's planned to go. But to come down here and to say, not only just die for us, but to put himself in a position of where when we talk with him, when we walk with him, he can literally say, I know exactly what you're going through.
Yeah.
Well, to speak on that even further, I mean, like the fact that he came willingly.
Yeah.
If you've lost loved ones, right? Like I said, I've said on the podcast before, and I'm not trying to drum up pity. I'm just using it as an example. I lost my mom, right? And as much as I loved my mom, I know where she is. And no matter how much I miss her, I would never ask her to come back. I would never ask her to leave her home in glory to come back here on this wretched place called earth. So to think in that regard where he was, and I mean, like you said, he was touched with the very feelings of our infirmities. Yeah. Immortality put on mortality. I mean, he was born with the sole purpose to sacrifice himself. Yeah. Everybody here on earth, if time stands, will die, but his whole purpose was to be sacrificed.
Yeah.
He knew the cross. That's why skipping forward even to like the Easter season, he knew what was coming, and he got to the point where he said, even so, let this cup pass from me, but nevertheless, not my will, but thine be done. And he knew the purpose of his being here. Even when he was talking to his disciples, he told them, I'm here to die. I'm here to sacrifice myself, and my time is coming. Yeah. Knowing and reaching all the way back that he, like you said in John 1, when he talks about God became flesh, the Son of God became flesh willingly. It wasn't like he was forced or pushed. He did it willingly. And like I said a little bit earlier in the show, in this episode, I hope, like I said, I know we're a couple weeks out for Christmas, and I'm sure our other episodes will still revolve around it, and we'll probably do a dedicated Christmas episode kind of more around Christmas Day, I'm assuming. But to make me, like I said, I can be a bit of a Grinch during this time of year. But hearing this podcast and hearing how these brothers it really makes me happy. It fills my heart full of joy because, like you said, you can get caught up. And this is where I want to stress, and I really feel this. If you're listening to this and you're stressed because you don't have your gifts done yet, or you don't think you're getting somebody enough, or man, it's just take a second, take a deep breath, and think about the birth. Mm-hmm. Think about what Christmas is, because you can't spell, and this is the most cliche minister thing, you can't spell Christmas without Christ. Think about that for just a moment. In the middle of all the chaos, in the middle of the shopping and all of the family gatherings and the get-togethers, and we got to go here and we got to go there, and I got to make this, I got to make that, I got to wrap this. Breathe.
Right.
And think about the reason. Think about that birth. Think about what it represents. Think that birth was for you. I'm just, like I said.
You was saying there, you said that's cliche, but really think about that. How many people in our society have tried to take that out, that element of Christmas? They've even changed the title to Xmas.
Oh, yeah.
I hate when I see that.
Yeah.
It's just them trying to secularize our holiday. But they don't want Christ to be in the middle of it. They don't want it to be centered around him. And I thank God that recent years people have brought that back in. Merry Christmas.
Yeah.
I don't ever let nobody put me down for that. Anybody I see, Merry Christmas. That's what I say. I don't say Happy Holidays, Merry Christmas.
I remember growing up, you heard Merry Christmas all the time. Mm-hmm. And then I remember being a teenager, and I was kind of like, even in myself, I was like, yeah, it does sound cliche when you say just Merry Christmas. It makes you think of your favorite Christmas movie that you watched. Everybody ought to be happy. Everybody's living the perfect life. And I know that that may not sound, that doesn't resonate with everybody. But when you specifically say Merry Christmas, it has an impact. And Brother Jacob's right. It does make people mad.
Yeah. When
you bring Christ into the matter, you can talk about God all that you want. You can talk about Santa Claus all you want. You can talk about anything else. But the moment you bring Christ into a conversation, I don't like that. You can't say that. And tell me Happy Holidays. No, I want to and push and glorify Christ.
Yeah,
that's what this whole thing's about. We wouldn't have the other things.
And it's not like Merry Christmas is rude or derogatory.
No,
right?
You're not calling anybody a name. You're just saying a simple phrase.
You're not trying to push your religion on people. It's just that's the founding of that word. That's what it was. Merry Christmas. Yeah, we're just reiterating that. Like, every other religion, they can have their holiday. They can say their deity. Why can't we as Christians be proud about our holiday? Yeah. I think we never need to lose that. So
no, we got to keep that up. Have you ever pondered, and this is kind of going to that willingly, him coming down willingly. You ever really really ponder what that means?
Yeah.
That means that he took on the limitations, what we do. That means the same emotions that we fight, he fought. The same sorrows that we feel, he's felt. If you study out the history, I mean, I know that he's born of God, the virgin birth, but he was raised by Joseph. And he was known, Joseph was known as his dad, because when he was in his own country, they said, is this not a carpenter's son? So, and I believe that Joseph more than likely would have passed down a trade to him. And if you study out the history at the time of the wedding feast, when he changes the water into wine, a lot of people historically think that Joseph was already dead and gone at that time, because Mary would have went to him as the patriarch, as the head of that home. But she goes to Jesus instead. So if you study that out, so he knows sorrow, he knows joy, he knows the emotions, he knows the limitations of the flesh, he knows the temptations of sin. He knows all this. He knows the pain of death, the suffering, and then he bears all of our sins on the cross. And all of that culminated to the point where it says, he ever liveth to make intercession for us.
Yeah.
So now, because God doesn't know what it means to feel pain, God himself in heaven, the Father, doesn't know what it means to face emotions or doesn't know what it means to go through this. But Christ, who sits on the right-hand side of the throne, can say, but you know what? I was there. I know what they fight. I know what they face. I know how they stand. And he gave us the example of how we can live. Boy, that just blows my mind.
Yeah. And he knows, those are just some of the emotions.
Right.
When he was being crucified, he knew what it was like to be betrayed.
Yeah.
And then to have the rest of them just walk away.
Rejected.
Yeah.
All of them just
he
walk
knew
away.
rejection.
As if-
Rejection.
He also knew what it felt like to feel like as if he was isolated from God, because every Christian can say at one point in time, I've heard that so many times from seasoned Christians.
Oh, yeah.
As a young pastor, from seasoned Christians, I've heard them so many times say that I felt like that when I prayed, God never even heard me. When he says, my God, why hast thou forsaken me?
Mm-hmm.
I believe it was because for the first time
He had no
in
idea.
his ministry, he didn't feel his Father there. And it's because he was bearing the sin. God couldn't see the sin on him. So even Christ knew what it felt like to feel as if he was isolated from God. So he can relate to everything that we go through. But he says that we have not this great high priest that does not know the feelings of our infirmities.
And it goes beyond that, because before it talks about him being a great high priest, he says that he is able to save to the uttermost.
Yeah.
So it doesn't matter what it is. He's seen it all. He knows what it's like. When Mary came and broke the alabaster box on his, and wiped his feet and was preparing him for that. I mean, she was the worst of the worst.
Mm-hmm.
She was an outcast. They all looked at her. I mean, Judas especially looked at her. But for him to accept that, because that's what we like. Maybe this is going a little bit farther than just Christmas, but I think that's the character of Christ, is that there's nothing so dirty that he can't take care of.
Yeah.
There's nothing so dirty that he'll turn his face away from, that he wants to communicate with you and he wants to talk with you and he wants to be your help. He wants to be your savior.
Right.
But we know that he wanted to identify with us. He wanted us to feel, that I know where you are, But the Bible said he was tempted in all points, like as we are, yet without sin.
Right.
And to think about that, he walked this earth and went through everything we did, but he overcame it all. There was no reproach against him. There was no guile in him. There was nothing where men could say, this one is guilty. They fabricated things on him, but that's why Pilate, he was not quick to judge him, because he said, this man's innocent. He's done no wrong. He had no sin in him.
Yeah.
But ain't that something that he did all that for an example to show us? You may encounter all these things, but you can rise above it.
And that's where it all culminates back to this time of season.
Yeah.
We don't have anything that we just talked about had he not been born. So I'm very thankful for the season. I'm very thankful for the blessings. I won't be the one. I won't be the one that says that I don't enjoy getting a gift or two. Now, I won't be the one to give you a Christmas list either. My mom gets on to me all the time. I think I made mention of that. My wife ended up making me a list, and I finally did go back through there and see what she put on it. But just to get an idea of what was on my Christmas list. You know, what I was interested in. Whatever my wife says, that's fine. You know, but I don't get involved with all that. I'm very happy with. I love gathering with my family. I love being with friends. I love doing things for the church. I love all that, but I don't ever want to fail to remember long before December ever comes, but especially in December with all the busyness of the time. I don't have what I have if Jesus didn't come.
Right.
And I want to say this. I want to say, like, I hope somebody else is feeling what I'm feeling and what I'm feeling in regards to the appreciation for the season. And like I said a little bit ago, just take a breath and think about the real reason. And I hope that this episode has helped people realize, and in the midst of all of it, that you can realize and remember that Christ really is the reason why we celebrate. Just take a breath, relax, and enjoy the season. Enjoy time with family and friends, and things are going to go great.
You was talking about cliches a while ago. Well, I remember going to church and I hear this older brother, and he always said this. I don't say it all the time. Just, it's not something I would say all the time, but he said it. He'd say, "I'm too blessed to be stressed." I know that's comical, but think about it.
Yeah.
We are blessed. We have more than we could ever wish for. We have more than we could ever ask for. God has been good to us.
Yeah.
Everybody in this room can say it. That doesn't mean that everything in life has been good, but it's all worked together for good.
Yeah.
And we need to reflect on that this Christmas and think about it.
Yeah, times are tough. Financially, everybody's in a pinch for sure. I can tell you personally, I feel that stress on myself. But if you've got a roof over your head and, you got food in your fridge, you can forget all about the gifts and all those good things. Just get your mind on Christ and just thank Him for what you already have.
Yeah.
And I would say that in that thankfulness, you'll still find the money to give the gifts. Because there's been many times that I've got to a place where I didn't know if I could, Brother Jacob.
Yeah.
And God always made a way to where I could give a little bit of something.
Yeah.
Because
absolutely.
that's what He's asking of us, is just to give, to be friendly, to be, whether it's the Santa Claus at Walmart just ringing his bell, putting a little extra in the offering plate for your pastor, whatever it is. Give with a cheerful heart, and God will bless you. We're not here to preach prosperity or anything like that, but I know that what you give to the Lord, He honors, and He's willing to bless that.
Yeah, God definitely does take care of His people. That's for sure.
So many different ways to give.
Yeah, there really is. Even if it's your time and just going out to, even if it's just going to the local food shelter and helping serve up a thing of soup, that's a great way to get into the mind of being thankful for what you already have.
Yes.
So with that being said, we're going to bring it to a close. Thanks for tuning in and listening to us. I appreciate everybody that's on here with me. And if you want to let us know what you think about the show, feel free to send your email to pulpittothepew@gmail.com. Thanks for tuning in, and hopefully we'll hear from us next time.